Hey everyone, we are going to continue working with address data. Today we're going to start looking at street level data. And instead of using Excel to standardize something, we're going to use Python, specifically the pandas package in Python. Sometimes you have to do pre-processing on street level address. Lots of times if you need to do some sort of matching to like USPS data. There's preferable ways to format your data. The USPS has a dedicated website to it. It's the address standards. Specifically, Appendix C has things around the abbreviations that you can use. So, like Avenue, if you look at cell A2 there, Avenues AVE instead of the actual word Avenue. But lots of times when you get the data that you need to format, it's not going to be perfect, right? In a perfect world, it would be great. You can just send it over and get the verified address. In this case, we have to do some pre-processing. So I thought this was kind of a cool little project. I am not the most perfect Python programmer, but I did have to do this recently, and I thought it was really cool, and we could make a video. So main things we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking through the street level address, street level strings, using the preferred abbreviation from USPS, changing everything to uppercase, and then also removing punctuation. All three of those are standards by the USPS that are the preferred way to do things. So let's go ahead and move over to Python. I've got a Jupyter workbook started here. First thing we're going to do is import pandas as PD. If you've never used pandas, there's a lot of really great tutorials out there on YouTube and things like DataCamp and LeetCode that you can get familiar with. Basically, it's spreadsheets for data analysts and scientists. Everything that you do in Excel, you can do programmatically through pandas. So, aggregating, cleaning, wrangling, pivot tables, replacements, all that stuff you can do inside of pandas. It's built on top of a package called NumPy that is super, super important to data science, lots of number functions. So yeah, look out for that. Maybe one day we'll do a full tutorial, or at least the most common things used in pandas tutorial here, because pandas is a massive package. Okay, so let's take a look. First thing we're going to do is create a data frame, and we're going to read CSV, and the file is called addresses.csv. And let's go ahead and print out the data frame and see what we have. Okay, so looks good. We have our data here. So let's move on to the next part of standardizing this street data. How I would approach it is creating a function, eyes, and we'll give it one address or one argument that says address. Let's give it a doc string, and we'll just say formats an unformatted address. Arguments, it takes a address, and we'll put it that's a string, and it outputs, this is just unformatted address, and then it returns, and let's do a capital, returns a string, and it's going to be a formatted address. And that should be good for the doc test. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a dictionary, and in this dictionary we're going to get a couple of the most common abbreviations. If you wanted to get a list of everything, you can go to the USPS address standardization website. And again, Appendix C has all of these abbreviations, but we're just going to, for demonstration purposes, we're just going to make a few of these. So street is one of them. Court is one that's, whoops, caps lock. Notice I'm also doing capitalization. You can do this afterwards if you want, but in the workflow here, it's just easier to do all caps for me. Let's do, let's see, avenue is another one. And then let's see, street drive. Drive is another good one. Drive, and then we'll do DR. And then there's directionals. So we do west, and that can turn into west like that, or a W. We have east, that'll turn into an E. South, which will turn into an S. And then north, oops, north, and that will turn into an N. And then I'm also going to just remove any punctuation. So specifically in our data, it's just, whoops, a period. So now that we have our dictionary of abbreviations, we're going to loop through this dictionary and replace any of these keys with anything from the value. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, oops, let's get off caps lock, for key value in abbrev.items. I'm using Python 3, so it's items. If you were using Python 2, I think it's iter items, I'm pretty sure. We are going to address equals address.upper, and then we're going to do the replace function, and we're replacing the key with the value. And then finally, we're going to return the new address. So let's run this and see if that works. Invalid syntax. Whoops, I forgot I put a comma instead of the colon. So let's go ahead and rerun this. Okay, cool, awesome. And let's test this out. My addy equals standardize. And we'll say 1, 2, 3 West Craven Street. And let's return my addy. And let's see what works. Standard. Oops, I misspelled standard. Standardize. There we go. And rerun. Hey, there we go. So it looks like we have everything's up into an uppercase, so that's good. We did remove punctuation, and then street was abbreviated to ST. So let's see if we did like something like this, west dot. Let's make sure we still get the same answer. And we do. Awesome. So now that we know that our standardized function is working, let's go ahead and apply it to our data frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to say data frame. We're going to create a new field, and we'll call it standardized street. And that's going to equal df, the column street. We are going to apply a lambda function, lambda x, and then we're going to say address x. Basically, just looking at this, what we're saying here is we're going to make a new column in the data frame called standardized street. We're going to use the column street right now. So if we look up, that's this column here. And we're going to apply something. We're going to apply a formula. In this case, we're going to do a lambda formula, which just applies the contents as x to our standardized function, passing the value x from which would be the value of street. Okay, and then let's go ahead and run that. And looks like we have an issue. Oh, I did address. This is supposed to be standardize. Standardize. There we go. Let's go ahead and rerun that. There we go. And if we return our data frame now, we should have a new column in the data frame that gives us what we want. So let's take a look. It looks like we are capitalizing everything, which is great. We're removing the punctuation, and let's look at number 6 here. Franklin Street turns into Franklin ST with that. Then the directionals are working as well. West turns into W, and then Creek Drive turns into DR. So that is one way to standardize, pre-process some of your address data. It should be also mentioned that there's, of course, APIs that'll do this for you. But again, this is something that I just had to do recently that I thought would make a cool little video. Hope it helped.